Hi, my mystical Scorpio soul. If you're hearing this right now, it is not by accident. You've been guided here, not by a simple coincidence, but by the whisper of the universe itself. In the next few moments, you'll receive something sacred. A hidden code. 3 powerful words meant only for you. Repeat these 3 words, never tell anyone, and after April, something extraordinary could happen. You may win the lottery, in the most unexpected, divine way. Have you felt it lately? That quiet shift in the air? A pulse beneath the surface of your everyday life, as if something big, something transformational, is approaching, just beyond the veil? If so, then this message was made for you. Not just as a forecast, but as a confirmation. A cosmic nudge to remind you, your soul has been heard, and the time of your rising is near. This is not just another horoscope reading. This is a sacred moment of alignment, a meeting point between your inner knowing and the universe's divine timing. After April, a gateway opens, and Scorpio, you are one of the few who are energetically attuned enough to walk through it. A massive energetic shift is preparing you for something that defies logic, but not intuition. You're not just here to hear about your destiny, you are here to activate it. You see, Scorpio, your journey hasn't been easy. For over a decade, you've carried burdens no one else saw. You've been torn down, only to rebuild yourself from ash and shadow. And that wasn't random. Every moment of pain has refined your spirit. Every detour, delay, and disappointment was secretly preparing you for this exact moment. And now the universe is offering you a key. But it comes with one condition: you must trust in silence. Repeat the 3 words. Never tell anyone. These words aren't just affirmations, they are frequency triggers, aligning your energy with a new reality. A reality that may look like sudden financial blessing, even winning something beyond your imagination. But more than money, it's about freedom, the kind your soul has been quietly craving for years. The freedom to live boldly, fully, authentically. And let me take a moment to say from the depths of my heart, thank you. Thank you for showing up today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for every like, every comment, every time you share this message, and for becoming part of our family here at Eternal Mindfulness. So please, stay with me until the very end of this reading, because what the universe is revealing today is nothing short of spectacular. And trust me, dear Scorpio, you will want to hear it all. Now tell me, what force do you believe has brought you here today? A dream? A number? A sign? If a number comes to mind, drop it in the comments. That may just be the universe giving you your first breadcrumb. Take a deep breath. Open your heart. And prepare, because what's coming next could unlock the path to your next 20 years. Sometimes, the deepest truths are not spoken but felt, not in the noise of the world, but in the quiet resilience of your spirit. And if you're still with me now, dear Scorpio, it means something inside you recognizes that this moment, this very breath, is the start of something you've sensed but couldn't quite name. Let's go deeper now, into what has shaped you over the past 13 years, not to relive the hardship, but to honor the silent fire that has kept burning within you even when everything else fell apart. You've been through storms that others never saw. The kind of transformation you've undergone wasn't sudden or dramatic on the outside. It was slow, patient, relentless. It lived in your shadows, in the nights you couldn't sleep, in the dreams you quietly buried while showing the world your strength. And all of it, though it felt unfair or unending at times, had a purpose. The universe was not punishing you, it was refining you. The planetary forces around you, especially Pluto, your ruling planet, have not merely circled above your life like distant watchers. They've been active participants in your transformation. Pluto, the planet of death and rebirth, has been teaching you how to let go of false layers, how to endure ego death, and how to rise from ashes that no one even knew were burning. Saturn's stern discipline tested your limits, making sure you understood responsibility not just as a burden, but as power. Uranus, with its unpredictable shocks, rattled the parts of you that clung too tightly to what was no longer meant to stay. And somehow, through all of that, you're still here. Stronger. Quieter. Wiser. In many ways, your suffering was not meant to break you, but to soften the walls around your essence. It is like the slow erosion of a mountain, not destruction, but a long-awaited return to the true shape beneath. There's something profound that happens when you sit with your own darkness and no longer fear it. When you stop fighting the pain and begin to listen, truly listen, you start to hear something else, the soft voice of clarity. From that place, a different kind of power emerges, not loud or boastful, but steady and undeniable. The kind of power that no one gave to you, because it's always been yours. This is what makes you, Scorpio, so unique among the Zodiac. You don't chase transformation, you embody it. You are the phoenix. You are the flame that survives the fall. And now, after years of inner excavation, your light is no longer buried. It's starting to rise. The wisdom in you is ancient. And just as a tree must root deeply into the darkness of the soil to grow tall, so have you. You've descended far beneath the surface, into loss, grief, silence, and endings, only to discover that all of those were also beginnings in disguise. There's a quiet kind of awakening happening within you now, one that doesn't need applause, one that knows its time is near. You're not waiting for rescue. You are remembering that the key was never outside of you. You are the one who unlocks the door. And as we continue, remember this, nothing you've experienced has been wasted. Every crack, every scar, every long night was a carving, making room for the new light that is now ready to move through you. The fire has never left you, Scorpio. It's just been waiting for the right time to roar. Sometimes, it's not about what suddenly appears in your life, but what has been quietly aligning in the background for months, even years, without your awareness. As we transition into April, something significant begins to stir for you, Scorpio. The cosmic energy is shifting in a way that activates deeply rooted parts of your chart, specifically the 2nd and 8th houses, the realms of value, wealth, shared resources, personal worth, and hidden transformations. These houses aren't just about money or possessions, they speak to the energetic flow between what we hold onto and what we release, between what we give and what we allow ourselves to receive. The 2nd house asks, do I believe I am worthy of abundance? The 8th house whispers, am I willing to trust the unseen forces that bring transformation? And when the North and South nodes, the karmic axis, begin to activate this space in your chart, it is no longer a gentle question. It becomes a calling. You are invited to rise into a new version of yourself, one that understands the delicate balance between holding on with purpose and letting go with grace. This isn't about chasing success. It's about becoming so attuned to your inner value that success is naturally drawn to you. And yes, for some of you, that may manifest in a very literal way, an unexpected windfall, a winning ticket, or a surprising opportunity that feels fated. But underneath the surface, it is something deeper, a recognition of the truth you've always carried inside. That you are enough. That you have always been enough. The card that aligns most closely with this phase is the Wheel of Fortune, a symbol of timing, fate, and inevitable change. In stories both ancient and modern, the wheel turns for all of us. Sometimes we are rising. Sometimes we are falling. But you, dear Scorpio, are at the point where the wheel begins to lift. Not because of luck alone, but because your inner alignment is finally matching the energy you've been trying to call in. That's why the words you repeat, those 3 words only you know, hold so much power. They are not simply affirmations. They are codes. Not for others to understand, but for your own subconscious to awaken. When we silently nurture a thought, it becomes a vibration. And when we protect that vibration, when we don't dilute it by speaking it into a world that may not understand it, the energy becomes more potent. There is wisdom in the quiet. There is power in stillness. Imagine a seed in the soil. It does not scream its growth into the air. It does not tell every passing wind what it's becoming. It simply grows, silently, deliberately, protected in the dark until it is strong enough to break through. In the same way, your 3 words are your sacred soil. The more you internalize them, the more they bloom within. What you're doing here is not just manifestation, it's a return to inner sovereignty. A practice of mindful thought, intention, and deliberate energy cultivation. This is why the timing matters. This is why you're being told, gently but firmly, repeat these 3 words, never tell anyone. Because energy is precious. And sometimes, the most transformative shifts happen when they are held, not shouted. Let this next chapter be a lesson in quiet empowerment. The kind where your actions speak louder than your announcements. The kind where the transformation is so deep, you don't have to explain it, people feel it. And more importantly, you feel it. You're not becoming someone new. You're remembering who you've always been. And the universe, now more than ever, is listening. There's something deeply liberating about getting clear, truly, soul-level clear, on what it is that you desire. Not just vague wishing, but the kind of clarity that arises when your intention is no longer a reaction to lack, but a conscious declaration of alignment. In this space, wanting is no longer about escaping your current life. It becomes a sacred invitation to expand into what is already available to you. This is where manifestation begins, not with the fantasy, but with the grounded decision to ask yourself, what do I truly want, and why does it matter to me? For Scorpio, a sign of depth, power, and emotional intensity, this clarity can feel like a full-body awakening. You don't simply wish, you commit. To visualize is to train the mind to become familiar with what the heart already knows is possible. But this isn't about daydreaming in abstraction. Sensory visualization means inviting every part of your being into the scene, the sights, sounds, textures, even the subtle emotions. Imagine holding the winning ticket, feeling its texture, seeing the numbers, hearing your name called out, noticing the disbelief followed by a wave of peace and gratitude. What makes this practice powerful is not whether it comes true in the exact form, but that it rewires your nervous system to recognize abundance not as a fantasy, but as a felt reality. And when the body accepts something as real, the outer world follows. Just like water carves rock over time, the thoughts you rehearse will shape the life you walk into. But no amount of imagining can root itself in your life without belief. Not the kind of belief that's loud or performative, but the kind that's quiet, steady, and unwavering. In this stillness, we learn the subtle art of keeping sacred things sacred. Some truths grow stronger in silence. Think of it like a flame in the wind, too much exposure, and it falters. That's why you were told, repeat these 3 words, never tell anyone. Because when you share prematurely, you dilute the energy. You invite doubt, questioning, and unnecessary interference. Instead, keep it close, like a jewel under your chest, a personal vow between you and the future you're co-creating. This kind of restraint is not secrecy, it's energetic stewardship. It's the wisdom of knowing what to protect while it's still blooming. Living, as if, isn't pretending. It's embodying. It's about choosing to show up today with the posture, thoughts, and quiet confidence of someone who has already arrived. What choices would your abundant self make today? How would they speak to others? How would they treat their time, their money, their body? This doesn't mean recklessness, quite the opposite. It's a disciplined joy, rooted in inner alignment. You don't have to shout to the world that you're chosen. You'll feel it in your walk, in the way you make eye contact, in the calmness of your breath. And others will feel it too, without you needing to prove anything. None of this holds its power without rhythm. The mind and body thrive on repetition, not in mindless habit, but in mindful devotion. Create a simple ritual. Sit with your 3 words in the morning like you're sipping tea with your future. Write in a journal what life already feels like now that it's yours. Look for signs, not to validate your worth, but to remind you of your alignment. And when they appear, pause and receive. Smile without explanation. These rituals don't just amplify your manifestations, they root you in presence. In the here and now, which is where real change always begins. As you return to these 5 steps over and over, not as a checklist but as a way of life, you'll realize something sacred, that what you're seeking isn't chasing you, it's already within you, waiting for your full participation. Moments like this don't come around often. They arrive quietly, almost like a soft wind brushing past your skin, and if you're not paying attention, you might miss the shift entirely. But if you're here, now, something inside you has already felt it. That inner tug, that whisper that says, something is changing. For Scorpio, April marks the beginning of a long-awaited opening, one that will stretch far beyond a single month. What you do with this moment has the power to shape your financial and personal reality for years to come. This isn't about pressure. It's about awareness. Because when the window opens, those who are ready, those who've been cultivating the ground, are the ones who step through first. Think of it like planting a seed just before the rain. Timing is everything. The Ace of Pentacles appears here not as a promise, but as an offering, an invitation to align your daily decisions with the possibility of something real and lasting. This card doesn't just symbolize a new beginning, it speaks of a tangible one. A shift that takes root in the physical world. But no seed becomes a tree overnight. The question is, will you be the one who sees the opportunity, or the one who waits until it's obvious to everyone else, when the soil is already claimed? There's a reason hesitation can feel so heavy. It's not just indecision, it's a subtle way the mind avoids discomfort, risk, and exposure. Thoughts like, what if I'm wrong, or what if I fail, disguise themselves as caution, but they often stem from deeper patterns of doubt. And the more we let them run unchecked, the further we drift from the very alignment we've been calling in. That's why hesitation isn't just a neutral space, it's a crossroads. Every time you wait, you're training your nervous system to mistrust your intuition. Every time you choose alignment over avoidance, you strengthen your inner clarity. This is where ancient wisdom teaches us something simple but profound: everything happens in the now. Not in yesterday's regret or tomorrow's fantasy. Only the present moment contains the raw material of change. Just like a master sculptor sees the shape hidden inside the marble, those who understand the power of presence recognize that transformation begins here, in how you show up today, how you speak, how you choose. There is no later energy. There is only now. When you repeat your 3 words, you are not casting a spell. You are choosing a frequency. But the words themselves, no matter how potent, carry no weight if they aren't lived. That's the part many forget. Manifestation doesn't begin and end in the mind. It must be embodied, with movement, with behavior, with the subtle but consistent ways you choose to treat yourself and the world around you. If you say, "I am ready," but continue to act from fear, the message you send to the universe is still confusion. But when your energy and your actions speak the same language, clarity becomes a magnet. So as this energetic window opens for you, consider how you might step through it, not with perfection, but with presence. Not everything has to be figured out. You just have to be willing. Even a small, decisive action taken in alignment is more powerful than hours of doubt-filled planning. You don't have to rush, but you do have to move. And if you've ever wondered why the opportunities seem to pass you by, perhaps it's not that you weren't meant to receive them, but that you were waiting for certainty in a world where courage is the true currency. Let today be the day you stop waiting for the right moment and realize this is it. Let your actions become the answer to your own prayer. The door is open, not for long, but long enough. And the version of you who steps forward now, that version is the one who meets the miracle. Some things in life are meant to be shared, and others are meant to be held, closely, quietly, like a secret flame you protect from the wind. These 3 words that are calling to you now belong in the second category. Not because they are fragile, but because they are sacred. You've walked through every part of this journey with growing awareness, learning to clarify your desires, visualize with presence, act in alignment, and recognize the weight of each moment. Now comes the most intimate part, listening within for the words that hold the energy of your future. Not just any words, but yours. A personal mantra, chosen not from logic but from resonance. Rather than thinking your way to them, consider creating the space to allow them to surface naturally. Quiet the external noise. Sit with yourself, maybe after meditation or just a few slow breaths, and ask gently, What do I need to remember about myself today? Let the answers come in whispers. Let them arrive without needing to make perfect sense. Often, the most meaningful truths don't arrive fully formed. They appear like distant stars, soft at first, until you realize they've been with you all along. These words may rise from a moment you once lived, a phrase that stayed with you, or a feeling you've always carried but never named. You might find something like, I already won, I am enough, or it is done. Or maybe something less obvious, something playful, mysterious, or deeply personal. Don't analyze them. Just notice how they make you feel. Do they ground you? Do they open your chest? Do they make you smile without knowing why? These are signs you found the right ones. You're not choosing these words to impress anyone, or to declare them out loud. You're choosing them to imprint your energy with a vibration so clear, so aligned, that everything else begins to respond accordingly. There's a concept in ancient practice that says, when the mind is still, wisdom appears like the reflection of the moon on calm water. If the surface is agitated, you'll miss the image entirely. This is why the process of discovering your 3 words is as valuable as the words themselves. It's not just a task to complete. It's a ritual. A form of deep listening that honors the part of you that already knows. You are not trying to manifest from the mind. You are remembering from the soul. Once you've found them, hold them closely. These words are like seeds, not meant to be pulled out and shown before they've rooted. Every time you repeat them in silence, you feed them energy. Every time you carry them into your day, you create continuity between thought and action. This is the deeper wisdom of the magician in the tarot, the one who works not with force, but with focus. He doesn't need more tools. He simply remembers how to use what he already has. If you feel the urge to share, resist it gently. Not everything needs to be spoken to be real. Sometimes, the most powerful truths are the ones we cradle privately, like a sacred note passed between you and the life you're about to live. So if your 3 words have come to you, if something within feels quietly certain, hold that space. And if you'd like to mark the moment in a simple way, just type, "I've found them," in the comments. That's all. No explanations needed. Let the energy do the rest. When you truly understand what it means to win the lottery, you begin to see that it has little to do with numbers drawn on a ticket, and everything to do with stepping into the version of yourself that has been quietly waiting for your permission to rise. The greatest prize isn't luck. It's clarity. It's alignment. It's becoming so rooted in your own inner power that the external world has no choice but to shift in response. And Scorpio, you're not here to wait around for life to happen to you. You're here to remember that you are the one who makes it happen. You've been given the map. You've been given the timing. And now, you've been handed the key. The only question that remains is, will you step through the door? Think about everything you've learned in this journey today. You've clarified your desires, trained your senses to feel them as real, built the foundation of belief, embodied the energy of already having, and committed to showing up every day with consistency. These aren't just steps. They're sacred disciplines, practices that realign your energy to match the reality you're calling in. The moment you decided to listen to this message was the moment you already began manifesting your next chapter. That was no accident. That was a decision made from the highest part of you, the part that already sees the outcome. You don't need to know how it will all unfold. You just need to know what's true for you. So ask yourself, what are you really ready to receive? What part of your life is quietly asking to be transformed? What have you been postponing, not because it's not meant for you, but because deep down, you've been afraid of actually getting it? Sometimes, we delay the very blessings we crave, simply because we're not used to feeling safe in expansion. But here's what I want you to know, from my heart to yours, you're allowed to receive. You're allowed to thrive. You're allowed to live a life that feels as good as the one you've been dreaming about. Your 3 words, the ones you now carry in silence, are not just affirmations. They're activations. They are your reminder, your promise, your code. And the power they hold is not in how loudly you shout them, but in how deeply you embody them. So repeat them often. Let them anchor you. Let them become the rhythm beneath everything you do. And above all, protect them. They're yours. Only yours. You don't need to explain them. You only need to become them. Now, I invite you to reflect. What part of today's message stayed with you the most? Was it the shift in timing, the way the present moment holds more power than you imagined, or the idea that silence can hold more energy than speech? Leave a comment below and tell me, not your 3 words, but the insight that resonated most deeply with your heart. I'd love to know which part of this journey spoke directly to your spirit. And if this message has sparked something within you, if it reminded you of your worth, your strength, or your vision, I gently ask that you support this growing space we're building together here at Eternal Mindfulness. A like, a comment, a share, or simply subscribing means more than you know. It helps these messages reach the souls who are still searching, still awakening, still longing for the exact kind of reminder you received today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for walking this path with me. Your presence is powerful. And remember, the door is already open. The only thing left to do is walk through it.